there are fast-moving developments when it comes to President Trump's immigration ban, his executive order halting refugees and immigrants from 7 countries. Tonight, a judge in Washington state ruling to temporarily halt the ban. There is no word yet on any appeal, but as you heard, Washington state's attorney general now says that decision is effective immediately after what he called, quote, President Trump's unconstitutional executive order. We also learned today of new numbers showing the scope of the immigration ban so far. Tens of thousands of visas have been revoked under the president's executive order, many of those people here in the U.S. And all of this as the president also takes action on Iran today, after the White House put that country, quote, on notice. We have it all covered tonight with ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega.
The president today landing in Florida for a weekend getaway at his winter White House Mar-a-Lago, but not before making good on that threat to put Iran on notice.
They're not behaving.
The White House issuing new sanctions going directly after people and entities tied to Iran's ballistic missile program. We asked today, is this just the beginning? Should Americans be ready for the possibility of military action with Iran? Is that on the table?
Look, I've said this before. The president's been very clear. He doesn't take options off the table, but he understands the impact of something like that.
In a statement tonight, Tehran saying it will respond proportionately and that Iran's missile program is the undeniable and inalienable right of the Iranian nation. As the White House goes on offense against Iran, it is playing defense on the president's controversial extreme vetting executive order, temporarily banning travelers from 7 majority Muslim countries. It is now the subject of multiple lawsuits. And tonight, breaking news, a federal judge in Washington state has temporarily halted the order nationwide. What exactly that means, still unclear at this hour, but the state attorney general declaring victory.
Judge Robart's decision, effective immediately, effective now, puts a halt to President Trump's unconstitutional and unlawful executive order. I want to repeat that. It puts a stop to it immediately. Nationwide.
No word tonight on whether the White House will appeal. The Justice Department saying in a statement it looks forward to reviewing the court's written order and will determine next steps. And in a Virginia court today, a Justice Department attorney said more than 100,000 visas have been revoked.
Yeah, I mean, the number 100,000 really sucked the air out of my lungs. I think you could almost hear the collective gasp in the courtroom.
The State Department later said the number of people who had their visas revoked is actually about 60,000. But amid the fallout from images like these, families reunited after being detained at airports across the country, the White House initially focused on a much smaller number.
We had 109 people that were temporarily detained. They're all in. But they were temporarily detained to make sure that the safety of the other 324 million Americans was put first. I don't see how that's a big problem.
Tonight, it is becoming increasingly clear tens of thousands of people directly impacted by the new policy. Of the nearly 60,000 who've had their visas revoked, thousands are already here in the country. They won't be deported, but if they leave, they will not be allowed back in. And there are tens of thousands more overseas with visas already in hand who would have been allowed in, but no longer.
And Cecilia, the White House says the immigration ban was designed to prevent potential terrorists from coming into the country. But as you reported there, thousands of people who had their visas revoked are already here.
Yeah, and this highlights just how complicated this is, David. Press Secretary Sean Spicer was asked directly today whether people in this country will be deported. He didn't have the details, but we have since learned that they will not be deported. But, David, they should not be expected to come back into this country if they leave.
Cecilia Vega leading us off tonight. Cecilia, thank you.